welcome back to the Pontiac Summit. Moving right along, panel after panel. This is agencies panel. So I'm joined by two folks who run their own agencies, James Hunter and Brian Bethel. James, can you introduce yourself and your company?
Yes, thanks for having me, Keith. I'm James Hunter. I'm owner and co-founder of Trading Up Media. We're a HubSpot solutions partner that focuses on content and tying programmatic advertising into the equation to create engaging customer experiences for our clients.
Thank you, Brian.
My name is Brian Bethel. I founded White Pants Agency in 2014. And we're out of Dallas, Texas. We're a full service digital agency. I think Dallas is one of the coolest places to do business and one of the best places. I started the company because I saw a need for a shop that focuses on strategy by combining content production, ad tech, and analytics, with digital and social media and advertising. So programmatic's a big part of that. So thank you for having me on. I think the last guests were great. I learned a lot, so it's cool to be part of this lineup.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you, the need to start an agency? What's your background? How did you even get into? How did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, I worked at a couple agencies, prior to starting my own, and I just took on. I kind of knew from the beginning, like, this is what I wanted to do, and I just started taking on all the jobs, from creative jobs to strategic jobs, tech jobs, and I just took on everything that I could and learned as much as I could. So that's how.
Got to get it off the ground, exactly.
Yeah.
And you, why did you start a company?
I started a company because I've been doing programmatic media buying for 16 years and realized I want to do this for myself from the comfort of my own home. And, prior to the pandemic, I told my wife, who's here in the audience, that we're going to do this. And she said, sure. Had no idea in the beginning what we were initially going for, but then we figured it out, and now I think we have a refined path in which we work with our clients. And I'm really good at media buying. I mean, I don't know too many people that enjoy media buying the way I do, and I mirror my skill set with my wife's, which is content, and this is why we have some really great engaging customer experiences that our clients love.
You're talking to a guy who also loves doing some media buying.
Yeah.
You mentioned HubSpot. Can you tell us a little bit about HubSpot for those who don't understand what it is, and then kind of how you parlay that into your offering?
Yes, so HubSpot is like a CRM solution similar to Salesforce, but more on a smaller scale, which is a little bit more nimble for clients of a certain size. Yes, you can use it for larger enterprises, but we use that for a lot of the clients that we work with because they're somewhat small businesses. And when it comes to small businesses, everyone has their way of operating. And what we found is that, hey, Excel sheets don't work, photocopies don't work. Where is all your information? So we have HubSpot, which we help you onboard, set up, and make it a functional relationship database where you have all your information. And what we found is that, hey, let's start doing email marketing. Let's start doing content, and then let's use programmatic to drive these engagements so we can use HubSpot's robust metrics to see, hey, John Smith has been on your website 38 times. That's great. However, let's fix those CTAs so we can get John Smith to become, more of a LTV customer versus just a repeat looker. And that's how we tie HubSpot in. It just makes everything seamless, where without HubSpot, you don't have a company because you don't have any infrastructure, and that helps bring the infrastructure together. And then we tie the programmatic in, and it just becomes a great omni-channel approach, and it just works, and I like it.
HubSpot and different solutions often play into email marketing and banner ads or programmatic, depending on how you want to frame that. I've seen this, so I'm going to tee this one up for you, but does a programmatic campaign, while maybe not driving people to click on the banner and to buy the thing, does it help with email open rates?
It does. We run the two in conjunction. So my wife always says content first, and sometimes I'm like, sure. But we do a lot of blogging for our clients. So we hey, this is a great think piece. Let's push this out via email. And from that email, what we've noticed is that people go directly to the website because they're like, hey, what's this? I don't remember. And then that engaging subject line draws you back to the website. Then we retarget you, and we'll retarget you with that same content piece, but then we'll break it down even further. If you go back from the retargeting piece, we'll give you another piece of content. And then from there, we take that audience and create a lookalike audience of the audience that you initially have and create separate audiences and target them with that content piece or another offering just to drive people back to the website. And then from there, within HubSpot, we can see okay, we're seeing from the programmatic channel, because everything has a UTM source. My wife made me do that. Before it was just like, hey, here's your click URL, but now it's like ampersand UTM source equals, so now we know every single channel where it comes from. And this is why the email marketing works is once you get an email, you can't help but look. Regardless if you read it, you open it, and we can see the open rate, and it's like, great, emails are working. But then we start to see like, okay, from that email, people are going to these pages. What's the next piece of content we can share? What's the next email offering we can go with? What's the next blog we're going to email? So we use that, and then programmatic just like solidifies, because we all think about it. We see so many ads every day. I can't even count how many I see. I probably see more than the average person because I traffic so many. But when you think about it, it's like, oh my gosh, I remember them. They emailed me. I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to buy. Top of mind is what we do with email. Programmatic just brings it home when you're sitting down on the couch with your laptop. I need those shoes, and just that aha moment is what we like to create for our clients.
Content, the amount of content you need to produce to get these campaigns to really pop. Content, constantly. There's the blurriness of the lines between content and buying. You do content as well. How do you match the two?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like the last panel said. It's a kind of a full funnel approach. So you have like brand up top. It's kind of top of funnel awareness, and then as you get closer to the buying decision, the content kind of changes, and it's more CTA driven or maybe more product and benefit driven to get people to purchase. So we think about content along the kind of the continuum of the funnel, if you will.
And I'll come back to you on like the next topic a little bit is you guys both, I've known you guys a little while. You both deal with brands that are larger and brands that are smaller. You find brands that are smaller or earlier on their brand journey or more modest budgets. Do you find them to be, is everybody playing the same game? Is everybody trying to do the same thing? Do you find the little guys are trying to emulate the big guys or vice versa? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the smaller brands, the smaller companies are a little bit more like scrappy with their budgets, and we've been fortunate to have some very big clients on our roster. And what we've learned with the small clients, we bring to the bigger clients and help them be scrappier with their budgets. Instead of everything's this top of funnel brand, awareness play, we try to bring these bottom of the funnel, more sophisticated approaches to these larger brands, which helps them, just work, helps those media dollars work even harder.
I mean, it's really a funny thing in a business to take the big guy. Small companies want to be like the big guys, but because of all the way that the marketing teams are built and the way that budgets are executed and the giant agency things, it's really funny to think that the big guys are like, well, what are those guys doing? But I think that's a real testament to kind of where it's all going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You have the similar, like, what are your thoughts?
I think it depends on the marketing person you're talking to. So like some of the larger clients, they're like, okay, here's my budget, just do whatever you do. The smaller guys are more attached to that budget because it could be like their last budget that they have for a while. So it's like their last $1,000 and they're like, oh man, those last $1,000 campaigns get you because I feel like they're spending $1 million, but it's really not. And this is why like we have like such a thorough onboarding process, because before we advertise, the first thing I want to know is like, do you have a website? Okay, is it functioning?
Does it work?
Yes, like how many pages? And then we also ask this question, which trips a lot of people up, like, who's your ICP? And they're like, what's that? I'm like, I like to call it the insane clown posse, but it's like your ideal customer profile. And they're like, oh, I've never heard of that. And then we just go through the process and we like say, hey, here's what you can do because you're smaller and you don't have red tape. So I like to throw spaghetti on the wall because that's just how I am. I don't like to read instructions. I don't follow rules. This is why my wife makes me follow rules. So we have like a structure because I just like to and that's just what's so exciting. That's why I like working with the smaller clients. But when it comes to the larger clients, I kind of have that same mentality, but I let them know like, hey, here's what we can do. But I stress the creative because I know they have a set structure and guidelines, but I'm like, here's what we can have fun with creative, because one message does not work for every single eyeball. Like it does not, and that's especially in B2B. Like a great campaign that we recently ran was like with a B2B marketer who wanted to do white pages, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, great, here we go, another white page download campaign where I know where this is gonna go. But I told them like, instead of saying download the white paper, say, hey, here's 5 things you can do with my white paper if you download it. Origami, take notes, throw it away, use it for napkins, and finally print it and keep dust. And it was a great campaign because people thought it was funny. They said it was the funniest thing they've ever seen. Like, yeah, that's what I do in my white paper. I use it when I spill coffee on my desk. And I was like, I do too. So, and that's how we just have fun with them. I'm just saying, hey, we can do these things. We can stick within your brand guidelines, but let's just have fun, because at the end of the day, we're advertising to people and we don't know what they're going through that moment, that second. Like, just have fun, because words matter when it comes online. And it's like, I've all seen like, download now. Why?
Yeah.
Don't download. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you look at, if they don't click on the ad, let's look at the engagement from like people seeing your ad going directly to your website. Let's retarget them, and then let's get them to go see that white paper, and they're like, that's genius. So it really depends on like the marketing person you talk to. The smaller guys just say, all right, fine, I trust you.
Well, and I think that you both kind of said it well, which is like the smaller the marketer, you know, you never hear one of them say, I have to spend this $5,000, right? They don't have to.
Yeah.
But the big guys, you'll hear them and they'll be like, I have to spend this $500,000. It's like, these are very different motives on like how they're kind of addressing it. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, but you prefer bigger or smaller client?
Sometimes
Obviously, the money might be an issue, but like, what's your thoughts on like?
Sometimes it's like where that comes from is like the smaller guy, he's writing the check from his own checkbook, and the big guy is, you know, marketing manager who works for a corporation. It's just different, right? And I think we have to, you know, handle both with the same amount of care, but the smaller clients are looking after that dollar and looking at the actual ROI rather than, you know, how much awareness they got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As somebody who works in agency stuff and tries to win clients, how do you go about trying to get new clients? That's the big question in this business, and without giving away your secret sauce, what's your approach?
It's been the same since the beginning. It's all been referral, and we've been in the marketplace long enough. I think we're coming up on 9 years now, and so we're pretty well known in DFW anyways, and so we get a lot of referral business, and we haven't really done anything else. That's one of my main goals, you know, in the coming years, like focus on the business rather than in. I've been in the weeds for so long, and now I want to focus on growing it and looking for new tactics, and maybe I'll be hitting you up for some HubSpot help.
Yeah, your approach. I mean, you got this HubSpot thing, but tell us a little bit about how you go get them.
Referral, again, being just programmatic advertising for 16 years, like know people who go from place to place to place. Hey, James, what are you doing now? And it's like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. Can you do this? Yes. And then also too, like my wife and I do like a lot of charitable events back home in Syracuse. So we just go there and people are like, oh, don't you own a marketing agency with the 2 dogs? And like, yes, the worst employees ever. And we just like tell them what we do, and they're like, okay, cool. And eventually they reach out, and even if we can't help you based on like, let's say your budget, would give you like ideas and ways in which you can like use that budget and then go forward. And when it makes sense to come back to us, we say yes. Because the one thing that we don't want to do is just take your budget if it doesn't make sense. And people are like, what do you mean? I want to advertise. Why? No one's ever asked me. I was like, we need to know why, because I can't just advertise, because that doesn't make any sense. And then there's no like long-term value, there's no ROI, and you're going to call me all day long, and I don't want to deal with that. So, you know, that's why we like the referral, and, you know, people know us, and we just email market on occasions, depending on hot topics, and I always come up with random ideas. My wife and I work in the same house. Her office is upstairs, mine's downstairs. I'll Slack her an idea, and I'm like, this is our next email piece. She's like, okay, fine, slow down. Let's think this one through. And I'm like, all right, fine. But that's how we do it.
But you know, when you're doing good work, that's going to be how you grow the business. That's how I'm growing my business, is like just doing your best. And you know, the referral thing, you know, you say it because that's like the way that you guys get the business, but it's not that easy. You better do a great job for Joe before he starts to recommend you. So I think that's just a testament to kind of how you guys do good work. Give me, we'll get out of here on this one, which is, you know, what's next? Do you just try to keep growing it that way, or do you get into different things, more of the same, more of new? What's your thought on your 5-year plan? How do you get more dogs to work?
Do not say that, because my wife will say that means we have 10 dogs instead of 2. For us, like what we do, on occasion, I teach at like SU, like I guest lecture at like Syracuse University. So I guest lecture like at the new house, and you know, from there, like we always look for college students to help us out on certain projects. So we're always like adding on, like saying, hey, like you want to do this in real time, let's do this. But I think for us, growth will be continuing like the HubSpot and the omni-channel approach. And I think people are finally starting to realize that that's a real channel versus the singular channel, which most people have been focused on, which was social. And since like all the changes are going away, it's like, told you those likes you can't take to the bank. Now you got to focus on channels where people are versus where you think they are. So for us, it's continuing pushing, educating on like omni-channel and, you know, the customer journey, because everyone thinks that, you know, marketing is a funnel, and I don't believe that. I think it's a flywheel. You know, I generally come in ready to buy, but then I have like a conscience where it's like, how much does this cost? Oh man, let me run this through the flagpole at home and make sure that it's okay. But I think just educating is where we're going to continue to do, just about the omni-channel and why it's great to be on social, display, CTV, podcasts, direct mail. Believe it or not, I love sending out postcards because I think it's great, and just other channels that don't get the day of light like they should, and just combining everything together and, you know, bringing it back to content, because that's where it all starts, from content.
Next for you, what's up?
Yeah, I founded the company kind of in ad tech, analytics, and media. And you know, recently we kind of added on content production and sort of the creative side of it. And so we're investing heavy in that side of it. So building out that team. We have a really solid team now, and so now it's just finding, you know, some more high performers and keep growing that team and that side of the business, really.
You kind of nailed it on the head, is like, and both of you, is like the content that these brands are going to have to make.
Yeah.
This is not going to work in the agency model of yesterday. Yeah. Okay, this is not like 3 ads. It's like hundreds, and next week there's more. Yeah. So I'd say I like that, because there's already problems in getting that done, and you know, there's no. You know, you want to start certain types of businesses, you better be able to buy all the products to put in it. Right. And whereas this is just like, as you guys keep coming up with methods to making content, to getting it out there, to measuring it, to watching it all kind of go up the flywheel, you know, I think there's a good road ahead.
Yeah, there's kind of a void in that area of like the agency business too, because you have all these big shops, you know, Omnicom and Publicis, and you know, they make all these beautiful big ads and spend all, you know, this money on this content, but where they've never really focused is all this digital and social content. And so there's this like void of content production that we've been, you know, finding a lot of success at, and I think we do really well.
Yeah, it's great. They create those pieces, but then distribution is what fails 9 times out of 10.
Each piece has to be distributed in its own method also. Right.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much for joining me today. That was fascinating. Yeah, I learned something, and I appreciate you guys both coming in. Came in from out of town, so I appreciate that. And
thank you.
For next time.
Thanks for having us, Keith.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
All right.